March 3rd, 2019. Hello, everybody. Doc Hydro here. Hey, we had a interesting situation the other day here in my neck of the woods that I didn't even know about. My neighbor gave me a holler on the two-way radio because I've got a GMRS repeater up here on the mountain, and was asking me about this, and I said no, I haven't heard. So I started checking into it, whatever, and I didn't find anything out. So he sent me some pictures, and then I found KOLO TV out of Reno had this article here of a semi-tanker versus a train, and I'm not going to give any of the particular details. It's down in the article. You can go look at it. What happened, why, and all that, I don't care. That's irrelevant for me. I'm looking at this as a training and educational opportunity for the fellow wildland guys that I deal with in the wildland environment. And one of the things that I started thinking about in my conversation with my neighbor was, what would that have taken to put out if that thing had caught fire, carrying all that diesel? And I thought, that's a good question. I don't deal with diesel. I'm not an industrial firefighter or a flammable liquids firefighter at all. So I thought, well, BTU is BTU. So let's try it out. So here's what I came up with. So right off the bat, this back here is the pup, and then the semi-trailer is longer. I'm going to estimate that it's probably, I don't know, it's got to be between, 4 and 7,000 gallons up here, and maybe 3 to 4,000 gallons back here. They say 4,000 gallons leaked out. And what you're looking at down here is the diesel. And it went down off into here, and then a little bit over in here from what I understand, and some back up here by the track. It's a pretty big mess. This is not a pool of rainwater here. This is actual diesel on the ground. So with this image, think about this. Think about the hazards in the area, telephone poles and trees, and then there's some structures here. And in front of this truck behind, I'm going to say probably 100 feet, there's another structure, and then there's a good-sized propane tank and a diesel unleaded fuel storage tank. So just keep this in mind right here. And with that, let's go to this. So one of the things that we were talking about is that I've seen a couple of numbers for diesel. Diesel, one site listed as 137,381 BTUs per gallon, but other sites and then most of them listed them at 139. So I just went with the 139. So if we do the math, the total energy component capability of 4,000 gallons of diesel is 556 million BTUs. And so then I thought, well, if we break that down total into 1 hour's time, then per minute you'd have a little over 9.25 million BTUs per minute being generated. So, since water is always usually pretty fixed at what it can absorb in terms of heat capacity per gallon, per pound, or per pound per gallon, or per pound per minute, I mean, we have to figure out the temperature of boiling of water at sea level and then at our altitude. So, working that out for where we're at would be 203 boiling temperature for our altitude. I just use a fixed figure of 40 degrees water temperature, so we get 163.07 BTUs per pound of water, specific capacity. And again, in my other videos, specific plus latent is 970 plus the specific, so 1133.37 total heat absorption capacity per pound of water. Now, if we then take the 556 million and divide it by that, we would need 490,572 pounds of water. This equates to 58,821 gallons of water, or 980 gallons a minute. Now again, you're not going to put out a fuel fire with straight water. All you're going to do is blow everything all over hell and create a bigger mess. That's, again, I'm not going to the actual firefighting aspect of it. I'm going from the standpoint of, let's think about this. If you're in the wildland environment and you were ever to come across something like what we see in this picture, you're not even going to get your apparatus close enough to even put a dent in that thing. That's going to generate so much heat, it will incinerate this truck, probably melt some rail cars, torch these telephone poles with these power lines on it, melt the guardrails, melt the asphalt, and take out everything. This is an area leveling event, in my opinion. Only because we don't have a rapid response department that has any AFFF foam or any industrial type firefighting needs here. So the time that it would take to get crews here, a lot of this is just going to be incinerated. So the only thing that you could do is just surround and drown and create kind of like a buffer, a heat shield, if you will, if you can get close enough to it. But again, this requires that you already have the pre-planning done, the crews trained up, and the equipment and all the gear and the safety, your personal protective equipment. So I just wanted to throw this out there and say, hey, this is what we came across, and just doing simple heat generated, heat absorbed. It would take, with really good nozzles and multiple of them, about 980 gallons a minute. Again, if you got AFFF, you're not going to be shooting this thing for, an hour straight stream trying to put this thing out if you got good trained crews. They can make quick work of this if it was going up. But at any rate, for the Wildland guys, something to think about. I know I'm guilty. I don't hardly think of this because it never happens. This is kind of like a shot across the bow the way I'm looking at it. So maybe it'll be a shot across the bow for you guys too. Anyway, have a good afternoon. We'll chat later. Bye-bye.